Well, greetings, entrepreneurs and my chat tribe. I want to welcome you to another episode of Heal and Thrive Business Hub. So if you're here for the first time and you're watching me on my YouTube channel, which is Conversations Over Coffee, if you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I upload new content, and also leave any comments of any episodes that you would like me to record, or any topics that you would like me to address on this channel. I am sitting here today with my iced coffee because we are in the throes of summer and it is hot, and your girl cannot drink any hot beverage right now. So whatever beverage that you would like to sit and have this conversation with me, then feel free to go ahead and, pause the video and go get you something to drink, maybe a little snack, and let's sit back and let's dive into today's topic. So what I'm going to be talking about today, and this is going to be uploaded on different platforms, not just my YouTube channel. So for those that's on my Spotify channel, those that are on different parts of where I put this medium out, then I welcome you as well. My name is Michelle Williams, and I bring content as far as from two different aspects. One from the digital marketing side, because I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a digital marketer. I help entrepreneurs and equip them with systems, strategies, processes to help them to lay a strong foundation in their business so they can see their business grow. And on the relationship side, which is the heal side, is because my experience of being in a toxic relationship and the effects of that and how that can spill over into our business. It can spill over into just every part of our life if we don't basically notice it and get a handle on that. So this is where I'm bringing two different aspects, and this is why it is named Heal and Thrive Business Hub, because it's about healing from those things that don't serve us so we can thrive in our business. So with that being said, today's podcast is going to be about overcoming relationships that have left us in a place of where now we can't form new relationships or new connections because we have allowed past relationships to continue to keep us in a loop of where we mistrust people. We are to the point of where now we're so hyper vigilant in a place in our lives because of things that we've experienced, and how that really can hinder your business, how that can basically hurt you even in friendships and partnerships with other people, especially if you're in business and you want to form a partnership with another person. But if you've been duped by maybe having a business partner formerly, then it can also hinder that process. So I'm going to first start with this definition because I like to clarify and I like to give definitions so this way you can understand and maybe you can notice it and you can get a handle on it. And always within my Heal and Thrive podcast, especially on YouTube, because Conversations Over Coffee, this channel, I basically, and I'm going to just kind of tilt my camera up a little bit so maybe you can see. And this is the Heal and Thrive, not Heal and Thrive, this is the Conversations Over Coffee mug if you would like to support the channel and get a mug. So that's the mug. I also have Conversations Over Coffee t-shirt, and I'll probably reach and get it. And then I have the Conversations Over Coffee journal, which you can basically take notes. It's to help you process the information that I'm giving out to you, maybe write down the key things that maybe I have pointed out within this podcast. And this way you can, look back at it and you can go through it in your own time, your own leisure. So this way you can notice those things that are maybe hindering you, or things that you say, wow, I didn't even realize I was doing that. So it's a good thing to journal. Journaling helps you get out your emotions. It helps you get out, a lot of things, maybe anger, a lot of things that you want to just journal and just then go back and look and say, okay, how can I fix this issue in my life? So I want to start with, and I know I set my t-shirt. Let me just kind of get it so I can show you. So this is the Conversations Over Coffee t-shirt. Comes in many different sizes. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll have the link to that in the description below. And you can purchase it to support the channel. I'm also going to be coming out with Heal and Thrive merch. So this way we can be reminded to heal and thrive in our life and in our business. So I'll let you know when that drops. I'll let you know when I'm working on that, because I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a creator. So I'm going to always create. I'm always going to be in creation mode. Not to say that I'm going to just always be creating something, but we are creators. We're supposed to create, right? So with that being said, I'm going to give you the definition on hypervigilance, because I think that when we understand certain words and maybe we don't know that we're in this state or that we are operating with this type of energy, then, once somebody can pinpoint it, you're like, wow, I've been doing this. So let me get you to that definition, right? So hypervigilance is a state of heightened alertness and intense focus on potential threats or dangers in one's environment. It often involves constantly scanning surroundings, being oversensitive to stimuli, and having an exaggerated startle response. Hypervigilance can be a symptom of anxiety disorders, post-traumatic stress disorders, and other conditions that involve chronic stress or trauma, right? So let's go to the first thing of a characteristic of what hypervigilance is, right? Constant scanning, frequently checking their environment for signs of danger, difficulty relaxing due to persistent sense of threat. So, as women, yes, we're supposed to be, especially if you're a single woman and you're traveling by yourself, it's good to know the area you're in. It's good to make sure that you're safe, but not to the point of where you cause your own self anxiety because you're just so overly hyper about a situation that you just become your own worst enemy. So I don't want that to basically be something that you operate in. I want you to be aware of your surroundings, but not to the point where you draw attention that you are afraid and you're in this state, because then it makes us vulnerable and it makes us stand out. So I'm going to get more back into the breakdown of this word hyper vigilance, because as I'm going through this podcast and I'm bringing out certain aspects of it, then I can dive back into it, because I really want to I got a lot of notes, so I want to really get to them, so this way we can cover all of what needs to be covered. So this way, if you see any of these traits within you, then you can basically start working on that to help you in your relationships as well as in your business, right? So the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to being in a toxic relationship, and that relationship, and let me just break down the different relationships. Let's say that, and we're going to start with the first one, a romantic relationship, right? So if you have been in a romantic relationship and that relationship has caused you to have a low self-esteem, it has where your partner has mistreated you or talked down to you, and you just have maybe cheated on you and all these trust issues, right? So the relationship ends and you just go, your separate ways, but then now you want to get back into another relationship. Maybe you are doing some online dating, or maybe, friends are, introducing you to other people. So this way, maybe you're going out on dates or something like that. But the thing about having a bad or traumatic experience in a romantic sense is that now you treat that person as if that was the person who cheated on you. Maybe, you're forming a friendship, and, you may be liking each other. You like the connection, you like the vibe. But now, because of what has happened in your life previously, what comes across now is maybe you see them on their phone. Maybe they're a business person. Maybe they're just somebody who just loves to be on their phone. But now you're suspicious. Maybe you're thinking that it's another woman they're speaking to. So you're always like in this, again, that hypervigilant state where you are looking or trying to find something to say, I knew all men was like this, or I knew all women was like this, and you're no different than my ex, or you're no different than this person who I just got a relationship with. And the detriment to that is because in order for you to really get a really good connection with a new person that's coming into your life, you have to allow them to be the individual they are. Like, we can't judge someone new coming into our life based off of a past relationship that we've been through that didn't pan out. And I don't care, and I'll get into the other different types of relationships, because that's not fair to that person. That's not fair to that new potentially romantic partner that could end up to be your husband or your wife, that you are now putting on them, where they now have to come up to a level of where now they get you to trust them, because now they're trying to jump through hoops to make you see that they're not the person who you was previously with. They're doing all these things, and that really plays on their psyche as well, because you're not giving them the benefit of the doubt to be who they are, because now they're addressing your traumas based on what you've been through. So now they can't really show up as their genuine self, because now they're, and it's sad to say, why would you want someone to walk on eggshells around you just to please you? Because that means that there's something that's going on within you. A person should never have to be in any type of relationship where they are walking on eggshells because they don't want to upset the other person, or they don't want to trigger the other person. And this is why I said, if you go to my YouTube channel and you look at some of the other content that I have there, and how I was talking about how we as people should heal before we even try to get into new relationships, because you don't want to bring that baggage into a new relationship. So if you are, and I'm going to give you some scenarios, let me just, because I had to write certain things down. I'm having so much content, and I'm just like, help me, to structure in a way, because as I'm creating these things, it's basically, or these topics, it's basically like what's the scenario that's playing in my mind, and then I'm trying to structure it in a way where when I can bring it out, it makes sense. It's not all jumbled up. And sometimes that's how I get information through things I've been through. I basically get my topics through things I've been through. I get it through people who I've counseled, situations that, experience things that I've been through again. So let me give you a scenario. So now we're going to just name this person. Her name is Sarah. So say she's in a relationship with a partner, but she struggles with self-doubt. She struggles with difficulty trusting new romantic relationships, right? So what the analysis could be is, because of the emotional state that she was put in through this other partner, again, she basically has low self-esteem. So somebody who has low self-esteem, they always want you to affirm them. Oh, you didn't see that my hair was done today, or you didn't see X, Y, and Z. And I'm not saying that, let me just clarify. I believe that, you have to understand people's love language. Let me say that. Because you can have been with a partner who maybe noticed little things, noticed little details, and that's basically how they operated. That was, how they showed up in that relationship. Where somebody else, not that they don't love you, but they don't show up that way. And if we start comparing people from our past to people from our present, then it's not fair to say, well, my ex used to, always compliment me on how I dressed, or my ex used to always do X, Y, and Z, but you don't even say this, but babe, I love you. Like, I show you, I take you out, I do things with you. So just because I may not say certain things that you want or you need, and I think at some point we as people can make that decision or communication to say, okay, well, if this is something that's going to help you, I will try to be more aware of noticing that, and maybe implementing that into, how I, assist you or serve you. It's nothing wrong with that, even if it's something that we're not used to doing. But if that's something that is going to make your partner feel good, but you have to understand where we're crossing the line to the point of where now they are not trying to work on their own self-esteem. They're just wanting that affirmation from you because they feel depleted, or they feel they don't have a sense of value within themselves or worthiness within themselves. So they're seeking it outwardly. So that's what I wanted to say regarding that. So now let's move on from relationships to friendships. So let's say that you have like friendships, but because maybe you were burnt by a friend, maybe because things didn't happen in that friendship that you seen eye to eye, that now when you get into and you're experiencing meeting new people or new friendships, and maybe situations come up within that relationship where I don't know, it could be anything. It could be any issue from maybe watching kids or house sitting, or maybe I need you to take me here. I need you to do certain things for me. But because you've been burnt by that last friend, you said, well, I don't do that because, I've had this experience with my other friends that they, they really hurt me in this way, or they really didn't show up for me in this way. So how can you again hold someone else accountable for something that was done to you by another person? And it's not fair to that other person. And we don't understand that sometimes we can miss out on really great people that really bring value to our lives, that are really there to really, ride with you. But because we have allowed situations in our life, we have allowed trauma, we have allowed people hurting us, people mistreating us, people speaking down to us, people maybe just up and walking out of our lives, abandoning us, to the point of where we now put up a guard, like, I only want you at a distance, but I want you in my life, but you only can be in my life as much as I want you in my life. And I think that's so unfair, because it really sends signal to that other person who could be a really good friend to you to say, well, wait a minute, I'm here to be a friend for you for the long haul. I'm not just like a sometime friend. I'm not a what they say, a fly by night or overnight friend. I'm here to go through with you through whatever experience that life brings, in our lives, whether, we are on the highs and lows of life. I'm here to ride it out with you. So when we have people like that in our lives, but we show up in a way from our traumas that keeps and hinders us from really pursuing and really understanding and doing a deep dive and saying, wow, have I allowed what I've been through and put it on this person, and now I can be losing someone that is very special to me, or that can really add value to my life, because I'm not willing to let go of the trauma that I've been through in past, in a past relationship. So I want to go back to the paper of hyper vigilance. So another characteristics of it is increased sensitivity, overreacting to loud noises or sudden movements, being easily startled or jumpy. It can come off as emotional and physical symptoms, feeling tense, anxious, on the edge, experiencing symptoms like increased heart rate, like palpitations, sweating, muscle tension, difficulty concentrating, struggle to focus on the task, of the constant focus on potential dangers, trouble sleeping due to inability to let go of the vigilance, right? So we know, again, causes of hypervigilance: past traumas. Individuals who have experienced trauma such as abuse, violence, or accidents may develop hypervigilance as a coping mechanism to prevent future harm. But you're always in this state of anxiety. You're always in this heightened state. Like, who wants to live always on the edge? Like, who wants to always be in this state of, like, not knowing, fight or flight? Nobody wants to live like that. So really, you have to understand that if this is you, if you've been through, and I'm sure that we all been through traumas, but the way that you deal with it moving forward as an adult, if you can see that, is how to put people in categories based on who they are. Like, it would be really, how would I say it? It would be really unfair for me if a new person presented in my life, maybe through business, and we'll jump into that as I'm talking about it. Like, just say a business partner. Say I met someone, we have great ideas, they have, certain resources that could help to grow the business. So we decide to come together and formulate a business partnership. But if I've been burnt through, maybe I've dealt with another business partner and maybe they stole from me. Maybe they were in charge of certain, finances or the books or filing the taxes, and they didn't do that. And then I come to find out that they stole thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars from me. So now I'm salty about that. I'm angry about that. But now someone who could be a really great asset or resource to my business, that we can now come together and merge together to really build a bigger empire. But because I've been burnt, now I'm not even giving myself or even those who I serve the opportunity to take advantage of the services and resources that I could create for them, because I'm looking at, well, no, I can't trust you because, I've been through this situation with another person who burnt me. And even if we come to the place where we do take on that business partner, or we do hire an employee, or we do bring in new people in our lives, but we micromanage them to the point of where now we don't let them have the freedom. Not to say that when you're in business, yeah, you have an onboarding process, you have a process of how things are to work in a structured manner. So this way, you know what's working and what's not working, right? But what you're not going to do is you're going to give that person the freedom to basically work in an environment that is conducive for growth. You're not going to be micromanaging them. You're not going to be calling them all different days and times, even sometimes as a business coach, and you maybe bring on a new client, right? And that client thinks because they're paying you that they can just call you any time of the day or night. Like, okay, now I'm paying you big bucks, so you should be at my disposal whenever I have a need or whenever I want to change something. And this is when you have to really set a process in place to let people know, listen, we can work together, but this is the schedule because I have a life too. I have things I need to do, but when it comes to business, I'm going to make sure that that is taken care of within that time frame. We're going to make sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. So what that does is it helps you to basically give people the opportunity to show up as their creative self, as who they are, as the person who you were drawn to. But if you try to now limit the presence of that person in your life based on what you've been through, you're doing yourself a disservice, because at some point in time, it's going to cause a strain on those relationships, whether it's the romantic relationship, whether it's the friendship, whether it's the business partnership, because you're looking at people from a lens of hurt. You're looking at people from a lens of mistrust from what you've experienced, and you're not giving them the opportunity to say, wait a minute, I'm going to allow this person into my life because I sense that they're a good person. I sense that they are a genuine person, and I'm going to allow them to be who they are. I'm going to open myself up to trust them and trust the process. If they hurt me or if they do something, because let me say this, first and foremost, we are all human, and I'm not saying we don't do things or we don't make mistakes or things like that, but I'm just basically saying we're not going to just, if you're a good person with a good heart, you're not just going to come into somebody's life and just wreak havoc, right? You're going to be there, and maybe there's misunderstandings that we go through that we can basically talk it out, and we can see where we've kind of missed the mark, and we can make amends, and we can basically allow the relationship to grow from there. But a relationship can't grow and get to the next level if you have used past things that you've been through and you're putting it on this person because of what has happened to you in the past. That's so unfair. And what happens is now that person feels slighted. They feel as though really you're not a friend because you're judging me based on things that you've been through. You're not a good business partner or employee because you're judging me based on what you've been through with other people. You're not a good romantic partner because now I got to step up and do more because of who hurt you in the past. So this is basically what I wanted to talk about, and I hope that this kind of helps you. So I'm going to give you some key takeaways because I've written it down, but let me just make sure that I've given you everything as far as the hypervigilance part goes. So I think I said anxiety disorders, generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder can contribute to hypervigilance. PTSD, hypervigilance is a common symptom of it. Also, the impact of hypervigilance. Now, this is the impact that it has on relationships. It can strain a relationship as the individual may misinterpret neutral situations as threatening, leading to conflicts and mistrust. Mental health. Prolonged hypervigilance can contribute, oh, I can't talk today, to chronic stress, anxiety, and depression. Daily life. It can impair daily functioning, making it difficult to concentrate at work or enjoy social activities. So how do we manage hypervigilance if there's something that you are operating in? So the first thing is therapy. Oh my God, I can't talk today. Therapy, cognitive behavior, and other therapeutic approaches can help address the underlying causes of hypervigilance and develop coping strategies. Mindfulness and relaxation techniques, practices such as meditation, deep breathing exercises, yoga can reduce anxiety and promote relaxation. Support systems, and this is so key. Having support system, having friends in your life that basically who will support you and be there for you and help you through those situations. But if we keep operating in past hurts and past traumas, then how can we have a support system when we're basically pushing these people away because of what we've been through? So we have to really understand that, and we have to allow ourselves and give ourselves the opportunity to get that out of our body, get that energy out of our body, start, doing some aromatherapy and bringing those different, things into your, life. Maybe certain music you need to listen to, or just practicing self-care that's going to help you to overcome these this type of issue, right? So you can build a strong support system of friends, family, their support groups online, have a healthy lifestyle, do some exercise, have a balanced diet, get sufficient sleep. Sometimes taking a nap can be the most beneficial thing because that nap helps you to de-stress, right? So there's so many things that we can do when we're in this hypervigilant state, right? So the things that the key takeaways that I want you to take away today is letting go, healing from the process, right? So how do you break free from the emotional shackles? The first thing is to practice self-compassion. Give yourself grace. Give yourself, the opportunity to say, I've been through this. I've been mistreated. I've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, whatever that is, and basically say, this person done this to me, but I am not going to allow what this person did to me for me to repeat that in other areas of my life. I'm going to give myself the gift of freedom to basically allow other people to come into my life, and I'm going to judge them based on who they are, how they show up, their character. I'm not going to judge them based on what I've been through and how I was mistreated. And I think that's the first step, is giving yourself that compassion and forgiving yourself so you can move on. Openly talk to those people. Like when you realize that you've operated in a mindset or behavior that has not served you, it's nothing wrong to have that talk, but understand, don't justify it. And let me just say this, because a lot of times people will justify things that they've been through and say, well, the reason why I'm like this is because this is what would happen to me, and I just choose not to do this anymore. But you're limiting yourself. You're cutting yourself off from your own supply, because when you basically say, well, I'm not going to allow another man to hurt me, like I'm not, and we don't know if people are going to hurt us or not. It doesn't have to be hopefully physical abuse. It can be verbal abuse, but we have to allow people to be who they are. We have to allow people to show up as their authentic self, and let us see if that's something that we want in our lives, because we can always say, no, I don't want that in my life. And when you say no and you realize what you don't want in your life anymore, there's nothing wrong with it, because what you're doing is you're protecting yourself. What you're doing is you're saying, you know what, I may have liked you as a friend, I may have wanted you in my life as a friend, but if I feel that something is not even, if I feel that there's no reciprocity here, if I feel like that I'm the only one that's always, the lending to the ear and just doing certain things, but there's no even Steven Street here, then really where is the relationship going, and how is that serving me? Because sometimes relationships, they're so unbalanced, and sometimes there's seasons, for that. But if you see most of the time that in whatever relationship you're in, romantic, friendship, business, partnership, if you feel like you're the one that's always putting out the energy and you're always doing X, Y, and Z, then you have to check that, and you have to understand, why are you allowing that type of behavior to continue? Why are you allowing this person to do that to you? Because now the weight of the burden lies on you and not on them. So we always have, the free will to say what we want and what we don't want in our lives, right? So Also, challenge negative thoughts. When you get a negative thought about maybe that trigger is coming up because maybe that business partner or friend or romantic partner asked something that you were not comfortable with, and now you're feeling a trigger from a previous issue or relationship, and it's causing you to now feel like, oh, this is something that happened. It's like bringing up that situation that happened before. But sometimes you have to allow a person to be who they are. Sometimes you have to allow and see, well, you know what? Before I didn't do this with this person because they burnt me, but let me see how this relationship is going to work out, because it's all about letting people be who they are. I keep repeating this because it's really, to me, the underlying theme. You have to allow a person to be who they are in order to see who they really are. You can't sabotage relationships by going in and trying to dictate how everything is supposed to move, because then now you are creating another issue in somebody else's life, if that makes sense. Then we have to also seek professional help, maybe get therapy, get counseling, journal, do the inner work, do shadow work, change your mindset, and so many other things. The second key takeaway is invest in your healing. Prioritize well-being by doing self-care, like set a day aside, or maybe every day you do something at a certain time, or maybe before you go to bed, you do deep breathing exercises, or you listen to soothing music, something that's going to get you in a state of calm, in a state of where now you're not so much, riding this high of anxiety, because, we as people, we go through a lot in life, right? We deal with a lot. The environment, we deal with, work, we deal with family, we deal with relationships. But at some point, we have to come to a place of calm and quiet where you quiet your mind. Let me tell you something. My peace is everything. I don't care who's calling me. If there's not a 911 emergency, if there's emergency, that's why they got 911, okay? Because I can't do any type of emergency work or anything like that. So calling 911 is better than calling me, right? So the thing about it is, if I know that my peace comes from me getting up in the morning and I have to be quiet, maybe I'll just get up, get my tea or get my coffee. I'll go back and I'll sit in my room. I may listen to some rain, sounds of rain, maybe some jazz, maybe some instrumental music. And sometimes I don't listen to anything. I just listen and I'll hear birds, like the birds around my house chirping, or maybe the ones that's in my fireplace because they done built the nest in there. So I'll listen to the birds chirping, or I'll just listen to just certain things. And it just brings me into that peace, into that calm where I'm not anxious. I'm not worried about anything. I don't care what's going on around me, that I still have that peace and that calm, even though there may be issues that's going on in my life immediately that maybe I can't attend to, but it doesn't set me to a place where, oh, now I'm just over the top and I'm just crying and I'm just losing it and I'm just a mess and I'm just falling apart. Because what is that gonna solve? It's not gonna do anything but keep me in a state of that hypervigilance mode, which I don't want to be in. So with that saying, focus on the present, get to know who people are, get to know them for who they are, set healthy boundaries. There's nothing wrong with, setting boundaries, because we need to set boundaries, especially if you are a person who is a people pleaser. You are always trying to please somebody because you wanted them to like you. You wanted them to be your friend. You don't have to people please. People will gravitate to you because of your energy, because of who you are. You don't have to beg people to be in your life. You don't have to convince people to be in your life. They will know the type of person you are based on how you show up. So just continue to show up as your authentic self, and be in the things that you say out of your mouth, make sure that you mean them. Don't say things that you don't mean, because then it comes off as inauthentic. It comes off as, okay, well, what do you mean by that? Because now we need clarification, right? So make sure that you can communicate your needs well, right? So again, let's go to how do you unpack now all of this? Now, again, you unpack all of this by now first sitting down with a journal, and you start going through. Maybe you want to just start with, okay, what relationships am I still what traumatic relationships have held me captive, where I feel myself repeating or maybe comparing people who I meet to certain instances in my life based on what I've experienced with other people. So when you notice that, then now you have an awareness that you do that. And once you have that awareness, then you can start writing down what was the trigger that triggered that, because that's something that you have to work on. That's something that you have to deal with, because if anything triggers you, it gives you a sign of what is not healed within you. So we say that like, oh, when we see videos, trigger warning, and it's saying, well, if this is going to trigger me, then that means this is another part of my life that I need to kind of focus on so it doesn't become a trigger anymore. So I hope that helps you. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comments below, because I really want you to understand that as we are growing, as we are evolving, especially as an entrepreneur, as someone who is maybe looking to get into another romantic relationship, maybe a marriage, maybe you want to attract new friendships, maybe even business partnerships. But in order to do that, you have to work on those areas of your life that have hindered you from allowing that to come into your life. Because the saying goes, we are what we attract. Like, you attract who you are. But if you are attracting people and now putting on them the burden of them now carrying your past traumas based on what you've been through, then you're not allowing yourself the freedom to grow and the freedom for them to now come into your life and add that value that they need to add to your life. So my name is Michelle Williams. I hope that these tips have helped you. These scenarios that I have kind of explained over and over again have helped you. Again, leave any comments, if any questions that you have about this, and maybe I'll come in and I'll do another follow-up video based on this topic. And yeah. Just go ahead, like, share, subscribe, whatever channel you are on. Let me know, and I'll come back again with another video. So have a great day, and don't forget to heal and thrive in life as well as in business. Bye-bye.